Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Well, and I thank you once again, and let me say a good morning to our cherished viewers and also to all my friends and loved ones out there. We've accepted a governance structure which is based upon requirement for transparency and accountability. So on a normal situation, I wouldn't have any problem with any sector of our society, any stakeholder in the development of this country demanding accountability on issues. And I think this government is so interested in maintaining a governance that is open and transparent, a government that is accountable to the people, and whatever demands that the minority will ask of government or any player within our governance system, I can assure them that we will be up to the task.
Right.
We will give accounts of our stewardship at any point in time when required. But I want to say this. The law on equity has always been clear to us. He who seeks equity must come with clean hands. People who run away from accountability, people who never responded to calls of accountability and were never accountable to us, are now demanding people accounts for their stewardship. Well, unlike them, we will do so because that is what is required of us as a responsible government. And also, what was even, to me, naive and a bit off was their demand that the minister should be sacked. What? It's like Kumasi Asante Kotoko telling a crowd of folk to sack their goalkeeper, Benjamin Asare. You understand? It's like Chelsea telling Manchester United to sack Bruno Fernandes. You telling us to sack one of the most competent ministers we've had in this country? John is competent, is capable, and they admire his capability and competence. And the only thing they can do is to wish that he's not in playing. You understand? Sometimes when we're young, when
he
we're
makes the work
football,
difficult for them.
Yes, when we're playing football, what you do is that when you're going to play against a team, you even wish that their best player doesn't show injured before the match. That is what they are looking for. But I can assure them that the Almighty God will keep John strong and healthy. He will give him more knowledge and more ideas to be able to handle that very, very important portfolio. That is excellent.
But you don't think they have a justification in making this demand based on some of the things he said, the solutions he preferred while in opposition?
They don't. Look, what John is doing first is to structure the energy sector in such a way that we can have reliable source of power and energy. 2, clear the mess that 8 years of the NPP created. And I'm very, very happy when my brother talked about the systemic plug within the energy sector. 8 years, they couldn't do anything about it. In fact, when John Mahama's former administration was proactive and forward-looking enough to set up ESLA to handle those legacy debts, when they came, what did they do? They consumed the legacy debt and they even added to the debt. When they were leaving, the debt had ballooned to almost 6-point-something billion.
But
within a year,
they paid the BDCs via ESLA.
What I'm saying is that whether the plugin was successful or not, they left behind a debt, a huge debt. 8 years, huge debt. Even when we have left them ESLA, almost about 4-point-something billion. They leaked that one and left behind a debt. So
they paid 4 billion to the BDCs.
And what happened? And how much did they leave behind?
They paid 4 billion to the BDCs. That's January 2020.
Thank you.
And then they went into they used some
so
10-year and 12-year ESLA bonds.
The issue is that they came to meet an ESLA, a fund dedicated to resolving that problem.
And how much debt?
And what did they do with the fund? They chopped it and even left behind another debt. Today, within 1 year, 4 months, so the government has paid almost 1.7 of that debt. You left behind a structure that had been bruised because you never invested in that sector. You never invested in that sector. What you came to meet, like the parable of the servants, they just went and put the seed under the soil because they don't want to do anything. They did not even invest in the sector to make the sector structurally, stronger than they came to meet it. Today, government is building up that sector. In their response to solving the problem, especially the distribution problem, for example, in the Middle Belt, in Ashanti region and the rest, what did they do? Ameri was moved from Takoradi to Kumasi. The same Ameri for which they vandalized John Mahama's name. They had to move it. And do you know how much they spent on moving it? I don't want to mention the figure here. A sector where you came to meet, you did not add even 1% to it, 8 after 8 years. That is what John is doing. We have identified the shortfalls within the distribution sector because infrastructurally, we don't have a problem with capacity.
Right.
As a nation, we have just under 6,000 installed capacity. At peak times, our peak demand is around 4,400 megawatts.
Yeah.
So we don't have any shortfall. So that reference Hussein was making about a particular media house, that media house was just creating, let me say, an non-existent situation because we don't have shortfall. If you have almost 6,000 and your peak demand is 4,400, it means that you have a reserve of almost about 1,600. You get me?
So when Akosombo happens, then we shouldn't have a problem. The Akosombo fire took away just about 1,000.
Yes, about 1,000. So it brings it to what?
So between the 6,000 generation capacity
and 4,004.
4,004.
But you know that we don't use all our capacity.
No.
We don't.
No.
Yes.
VRX
There's always a reserve. You understand? For emergencies. So once even 1 megawatt from the demand goes off, it means that there will be some little bit of interruption within the system. So it is not something that out of somebody's creation. We had a situation as a country. What do we have to do? We have to resolve it. The resolution of that problem has nothing to do with government's intention of improving upon the system through distribution and also revenue collection. And since this government came into office, in the last budget, you saw government's intention, money that has been voted for the purchase of new transformers, the installation of new transformers, the financing arrangement to be able to make ECG strong enough to reduce losses within their revenue collection mechanism. So it is clear that the government is putting up measures to be able to at least reduce the deficiencies we've recognized within the sector from time, including the 8 years of the NPP. Today, you and I are talking about this. Meanwhile, just some few years ago, we've forgotten that by this time, all these shortfalls and problems we are having within the distribution system will have been resolved. But for Bawumia.
Oh, how so?
Yes, PDS. But for Bawumia, if Bawumia had competently stayed on the policy direction that was given for PDS, and has not changed the mechanism and the condition of guarantee, PDS couldn't have swindled Ghanaians and gone with our money, and wouldn't have lost the compact to be able to improve upon the structural deficiencies we have in the system. These are the problems today's administration and John Jinapor are resolving. Problems that were created by you. So for them to have the audacity to stand out there and call for his dismissal was just irresponsible to me. Let me also say this. Yes, monies have been collected. As I said earlier on, they'll be accountable. But then, Fuseni should not tell me they themselves had not estimated what amount will be realized from that 1 cedi per litre. They know.
They do?
It's not Collins who said it will raise just about 700 million. It's not Collins who said that. They are spokesperson on energy. What will 700 million do to a situation where we are having close to 2.7 billion losses within the system? So you should understand that even the 1 cedi that we are talking about is just to solve part of the problem. There is a bigger problem of consistent shortfalls.
Right.
And government is going to make sure that with the capacity installations that we are doing and the change of old lines and the problems, the challenges with the distributed system, we shall have a much more efficient system of reducing losses and plugging the holes within the system. So what I think the minority should be doing is to encourage government to continue to pursue our energy sector reform program that has been there, and they decided not to follow it.
They actually accused you 3 days ago of not following it.
We're not following. Oh, really? With all these installations of new transformers, and are they not part of the energy sector reform program? So what are they talking about? Why is the minority now becoming Anumako Konekode? They go make, they mess up the water.
The water.
And then they turn around and come and ask how the water get messed up. Husseini, I think you are in the wrong place, because I don't know you to be part of such a gang of people.
In one of their press interactions, they actually accuse you of abandoning the ESRP.
Which part of the ESRP have we abandoned? They should be specific. They should tell us. Then we can all interrogate it. Which part of it? We've been in office for just about 1 year, 4 months. Which part of the ESRP have we abandoned? They should tell us. You cannot just say we've abandoned it when clearly we are going according to some of the specifics of the new transformers, changing of lines. Some of the lines are old and they tend to make efficiency become a problem. So all these things are being done.
Renegotiation of agreements.
All this. So which one have we checked? They should tell us. You cannot just make a blatant statement of we are not doing this when in actual fact you won't tell us which of the things we are supposed to do that we haven't done. So I think I have no problem with my very good friend, the deputy whip. Is he a deputy whip?
Yeah, deputy whip.
Habib, demanding and utilizing the mechanism of RTI. It's good, but I'm saying that as a member of parliament, well, he has other tools that he can use, which I think are much more effective. The Minister for Energy can be pulled before the House to answer questions anytime on an emergency. Urgent questions. He has that tool. So he can use that. RTI may not be able to give you all the information you are
Parliament
looking
is
for.
on recess, right?
No, but you can. Were you not the ones who asked Parliament to come on a state of a state of agency and came and talk about a Ford? A very, very petty issue of Ford. A Ford car. You brought the whole Parliament together.
That it's
and you think that you will not.
It's impractical today to recall Parliament And you know it's impractical. Like speaker, back bay, and all of that. You know it's impractical for Parliament. For the
on an
minister
urgent issue,
you know it's impractical. I mean, let's be real. You know, you wouldn't even mind you.
You are being pessimistic.
He wouldn't even mind you.
No, you are being pessimistic.
The speaker won't
on a
even
very important issue like power.
The speaker won't even mind you. You know it. How? You know it. And so he's just using the tools.
But what I'm saying is that the speaker, his leadership will not have any problem if today they demand that we should have an urgent recall of Parliament to discuss the issue of the fire in Akosombo. It's a national infrastructure, critical national infrastructure issue, and Parliament will have to respond. You understand? Because RTI, which institution are you going to address it? To Minister of Finance? Or the ECG?
No, but GRA actually.
The GRA will not be the only institution.
They are in charge of collection.
Yes.
And the Ministry of Energy are in charge of disbursement. That's a fact.
But the issue, the issue is that once GRA collects, it goes into government consolidated fund.
Right. But there's a purpose. And there's a trail.
So I'm saying
there's always a trail.
There's a paper trail.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that it creates a cumbersome position. GRA, Minister of Finance, Energy. But then you can ask questions straight on an urgent question straight in Parliament to the Minister of Finance and he will answer. This is how much we collected through GRA. We've disbursed the amount to Minister of Energy. Or Minister of Energy to say, look, this is how much we got from finance. So it's clear. I believe that too will give you the answers better and in a much more, let me say, legalized environment, because once in Parliament no one can commit perjury.
Right.
You understand?
Dumsor,
Nobody will commit perjury in Parliament. So the answers that the minister will give in Parliament will be much more, let me say, justifiable than what you will get from any other government institution, because that government institution may give you an answer. If you are not happy, you have to require further explanation. But then in Parliament, you are sure to get a very justifiable answer to the question you ask.
Oh, the Dumsor Nabu.
Dumsor
Nabu.
There's no Dumsor.
24 hours.
There's no Dumsor. You are the ones who brought Dumsor. And then you brought Dumsor and you decided that you call it Dumsor.
Yeah, we should go and find our own timetable.
We should go and find our own timetable.
Currently, we are acknowledging that we have that challenge. In fact, a couple of
days
ago.
What challenge do you have?
A couple of days ago.
What challenge do you have?
A couple of days ago.
And you are calling something Dumsor Levy. What is Dumsor Levy?
Put a schedule on our class platform. For some weird reason, I thought, oh, finally we have a schedule. Apparently it wasn't to be. Tell us, yesterday, my friend Ebenezer Nati was giving account of specific incidences. People who own cold stores, whose stock had gone bad. People whose television are blowing up just because of it. He gave a vivid account.
Television is blowing up.
Of course, the lights come on and off, and so sometimes the power surges, and then the circuits, and then they blow off. See, honorable, I keep hearing that people are saying that NPP over 8 years didn't do anything in the energy sector. We added up to 1,600 megawatts.
Where?
To our installed capacity. I can give you.
Give us.
Asogli 180 megawatts.
Asogli.
In 2017.
Asogli.
Kappa. Oh, I mean, this, of course they are. But when you sign IPP,
is it 2017?
Help.
2017. When did you come to power that you said you added?
I can give you.
I said you came to power in 2017. So how did you add 20,000?
But we could sign. I mean, even if we came to meet a contract that had been signed and we facilitate for the provision of it, why is it not?
Did you sign that contract?
When you came,
I am telling you,
when you came
over
8
years,
you started talking about Ameri and car park, and you brought up a Jakun and the people to go to what do you call it? The expedition that of course. What do you call it? Alibaba expedition.
We were both in Parliament at the time. So we knew the issues that transpired. But so year in, year out, I can give you how much we added to our installed capacity. It adds up to 1,600 over 8 years.
Over 8 years.
So and 8 years you didn't do anything. And then, hey, please come on. We came to meet an energy or a legacy debt of about 2.5 billion. By the time we were leaving office, we left about 2.4 billion. And instructively, we kept the power on, the lights were on for 8 years.
When you were leaving office, you left what?
For 8 years, the power was on.
You left
and that is what we expect.
How much did you come to receive
what we expect. If,
how much
if you look at it, there
Esla?
was a press release on the
No, Esla. Tell me, Esla, how much did you meet
somewhere
Esla?
January 2026, that the ministry had paid about 1.47 billion to clear.
Yes.
To clear. To clear. Just so if we met 2.5 billion, and we at the time we were exiting, it was about 2.4 billion. And essentially, we kept the lights on. We kept the lights on even at very high world crude prices.
You also
over
had,
the 8 years.
You also had problems.
Through challenges.
And you said it was Dumsor.
Through challenges that we had, we were. And look, this location of the plant and all of that, it's to bring efficiency in the system.
Really?
We keep talking about transmission losses. And so if you produce at Takoradi or Tema, and the consumption point is Kumasi, the transmission alone, why don't you get a plant closer to the consumption point so you cut down on transmission loss? It makes sense.
So why didn't you?
It makes
why
sense.
didn't you
and
invest?
If you look at the cost benefit analysis of that movement of the plant, and you're going to make some savings, it makes sense that you relocate the plant, and that's exactly what we did.
That's why you moved it to Kumasi.
That's what we did. It makes sense.
They just solved the problem.
It is closer to and I'm sure before any such project is undertaken, there's a cost benefit analysis. It's going to cost us X amount to relocate the plant. In relocating the plant, we're going to save this amount on transmission losses. Why not? If it makes sense, if it makes financial sense, you do it.
But when you relocated it,
you see this whole thing, when it started over the weekend, I was hearing, oh, heads are rolling. The ECG boss is being fired, or I mean, and subsequently. Oh, but if you check Facebook posts of people like Basintali.
Oh, but sometimes
go and check his Facebook post.
Why don't you check the ECG? You say ECG. Why don't you use the ECG?
Go and check what he said. I am telling you that I had allegations of the boss being fired. Subsequently, it came out that, oh look, the guy was due for retirement and he's on terminal leave. And so it's not
Gridco.
One of them.
Anyways, Gridco.
Gridco. Okay, Gridco. We heard that some district managers in Ashanti region were being moved around because they are suspected to be elements of the NPP who are causing the issues in Ashanti.
But people are moved around all the time.
And so don't put this whole issue or challenges in the sector to some political. There are about 21 reasons given somewhere that inclusive in there are snakes in some of the
that's a whole. That's a specific issue.
Come on.
Did you see the python?
Come on.
No, did you see it?
Come on.
Would you go and work there, knowing that there's such a python?
Of course I would. Of course I won't. But these are some of the matters. I also saw a video of a member of parliament saying that, oh, within Accra there are new high-rise bill coming up, and so our consumption has gone up.
True.
It took me back to around 2014, 2015, when we were told that more people are charging their mobile phones, and it was one of the problems why we were in Dumsor.
But on the high-rise building,
any system, any system like we have, any system like you are levying us to build, right? We have projected the increment in demands per annum. We have installed capacity bigger than what our consumption.
Yes.
So you activate.
I like the challenge.
And so for you to come and tell me that, my lights are going out because they are more
high-rise buildings.
Come on.
Just a quick one.
Come on.
The level of consumption of a high-rise building may not be the same as a normal building situated in a residential area.
But I told you that
the challenge is the rezoning that we're doing, and not retrofitting our transformers to meet same.
That is why.
Upgrading the transformers to meet same.
That is why I keep saying that. Look, there are challenges in the system. Nobody. Yesterday I heard the former ECG MD Dubik on some other platform saying that even in residential areas these days, people have lifts in their building, and looking at the consumption of, let's say, a lift, and given the distribution, or domestic distribution, it disrupts, and so the circuit should be going off. It makes sense that way.
And then the high rise doesn't make sense.
It makes sense that way. But you see, the high rise. When I talk about the high rise, when I talk about the high rise, the fact that consumption has gone up, and I linked it. It just reminded me of what we had in 2014, 2015.
The charging of phones.
The charging of phones has caused us Dumsor in this country. Those were some of the excuses we had. Oh, come on.
Who said that?
Oh, come on.
Who said that?
We're in this country.
Who gave that explanation?
No, but you see that that's what the high rise is. That's what the high rise it can be explained.
Because how about mobile phones?
If there's a transformer in this area, and
how about mobile phones? They say more people.
No, but let's go with the high rise building. If there's this area is zoned as a residential area, and you come and put a hotel here, which consumes more than the other residential apartments, obviously the initial transformer in that area.
You know that most of the time,
and what
most of the time, installations like that do not even come through this. They have direct lines.
No. Let me also say.
Notice people putting sachet water producing factories in residential areas.
But you see, I would say, and I'll admit we have challenges.
True.
But these are the same people who told us that even when you have to be installing new transformers, it should not cause you blackouts, because...
Who said it?
Asedun Ketia said it.
Is it the Minister of Energy?
Asedun Ketia.
Is it the Minister of Energy?
You asked who said it. I've told you who said it. He's not the Minister of Energy, but he's not mean a person within your party.
No, he's just like me. He's proffering his opinion.
Else, whatever you are saying this morning, I also discount it.
Yes, but you
say I should discount what he said
actually makes sense, because if what Asiedu said actually makes sense, and that is one of the challenges.
You see,
that is one of the challenges I have with the attribution of the transformer upgrade to the power outages. Because if we have 3,000 transformers we are going to install, I don't think we are installing all 3,000 at the same time to cause the challenges we're seeing. It should be properly zoned and phased out properly. So that
ECGMD has come out with a press statement, to tell us.
But the minister has directed that they put out timely information.
You see, if what Asiedu said, right, it makes sense that you wouldn't have to put off a line to be able to replace the transformer, then we shouldn't attribute our current situation to
that I agree, but it's not necessarily put off, because if I'm replacing the transformer, obviously I will put off. But what I'm saying is that we take that one out, put all off at the same time.
If you take that one out, that we should not attribute our current challenges to replacement of transformers, and then you take the challenge we had in Akosombo a couple of days back out, there is no reason why we should be having our challenges.
No, you are making a mistake.
Those are the two main. Those are the two main reasons are being attributed to our current challenges. So if you take that one out and say that it does not make real sense,
there's the generation,
and then Akosombo until a couple of days we did not have any challenges.
There's the generation, there's the transmission or evacuation, and then there's the distribution. If we had invested properly in the transmission, and also in the distribution, this is where the challenge is.
So Honorable Habib and the minorities problem is that you came out last year.
Let's hear
a moment. Just let me finish. You came out last year, July, to tell us that for every liter of fuel you buy, we are going to charge you an extra 1 cedi. For every gallon, you have to pay an extra 4 cedis for us to resolve this matter. We probably would not expect that from July until April, we resolve the problem. But the question is that, come and tell us, for that increment, in levies we have to pay on fuel, what have you applied it? Simple.
Very well.
And we are not saying that we are not accountable. In fact, the PFMA, our constitution, and parliament standing orders will force everybody to be accountable. And that one, you cannot run for accountability. You mentioned that the people who don't want accountability. At what stage did the new patriotic party in government run from accountability? There was no reason. There was no instance.
I will give you so many examples.
There was no instance where we had to account. Where we didn't.
You yourself.
Where we didn't. Where we didn't.
Thank you, Alaji.
We are not open and available to be accountable to our stewardship.
Let the Ghanaian decide.
Under normal circumstances, this issue of energy, stability and instability should not be an inflammatory argument at all, because the NPP are aware. Nana, if you come to meet a situation where we have such a level of installed capacity, then we should know that we don't have a problem with generation. Ghana's problem now is distribution. So what a responsible government should have done was to invest in the mechanisms to be able to make efficient distribution and also make sure that we reduce losses pertaining to distribution and revenue collection.
Right.
And we're lucky to have a government, another jurisdiction, that was interested in our power generation. And so they decided to support us. What did you do? You messed up the whole mechanism, created a situation where we lost. So one, we've lost the support that we're going to get in order to create the efficient system. Two, we could not also be able to improve upon the system we have to make it efficient. So what we have actually done was we have added to the problems of the country. This is the situation I want Husseini and his people to understand, that the situation we have today was created by them. And as such, the only thing they can do morally is to support the government to be able to resolve them through the energy sector reform program.
You see, this whole PDS arrangement started way before we came into power. And the personalities and how we got to, we're in parliament together when this whole thing unfolded. I think early last year, there was a study where, or some reportage where the government itself admitted that they needed private participation in the energy sector, especially with revenue collection and all of that. And so they decided to revisit the PDS matter. I recollect some promises that
not PDS matter.
Some private sector participation,
which is something that even in President Kufuor's era, we decided to do with water and electricity, the utilities, because we saw that the utilities was a problem for us. No, it is something I want us to all understand. As a country, I believe seriously private injection into especially the collection of revenue. I was a member of the assembly, AMA for example, when we saw the problems inherent in our structure in revenue, property rate collection. Since the day I was an assembly member in 1992, you understand? We invited private individuals to play part in revenue collection. Because we saw that some of the, up to today, some of the people who are on salary, the revenues they collect for the assemblies is not even 1/10 of their salaries. You understand? Well. So even right there, government is making losses. So we saw that, look, bringing people in who will collect revenue and take commission was becoming more efficient. So private participation in revenue collection is not something that as a country, any of us, any of the political parties have shied away from. But it is how you people handled the whole structure of private participation that we are talking about. That is what has saddled us with the situation we have today. That we have inefficiencies in collection. And yes. No, we said you and I must agree.
So in the last 15 months, what has happened?
That is why I'm saying that in the last 15 months.
But you have increased the levies.
No, but the levies are supposed to address the program that is.
Were you going to apply?
I remember that day.
Were you going to apply?
You were part of the debate.
Were you going to apply?
We all agreed that
government cannot continue.
Ghana government cannot continue using dollars to buy crude, to fire our systems, and then collect revenue in cedis. And then for that situation, anytime there is a sort of fluctuation within the currency, it affects government. You understand? We all agreed. So government must look at efficient systems and reduce its subsidization of utility.
Right.
You started playing politics with it. You understand? You started playing politics with it. And let me tell you, one of the reasons why during the COVID, when they gave water and they literally came to, because there was no way the government can recoup those monies. So they had to come back and charge us, and even took more from us than what they collected. What they gave, yes. COVID was for how many months? They gave us free water and free electricity for how many months? they end up collecting COVID levy for how many years? You understand? So the system is.
Why are you linking COVID levy to only
utilities? Because it's utility. I'm saying that I'm looking at the system of collection. We did not say that
the COVID levy was just for utilities. Within
utilities.
COVID, for over a year, there were government workers who didn't even go to work, but they were paid in Ghana.
So do you
we
have
knew
to
that in other jurisdictions.
So do you have to use my utility money? Do you have to use my utility money to pay for that?
We manage all of that.
But what about the money you got from the COVID?
Just
what are the money you got? You got more money from COVID than you spent.
You see, these are all the misconceptions that
what's all misconceptions?
Me and you were in Parliament when COVID hit.
Yes.
When COVID hit,
there was no law backing government finances.
There was panic.
You came to Parliament.
I could recollect. There were media. Yes. There were media. There were international media reportages that look. At the time COVID hit from, let's say, January, February, by June, people were going to be dead on the streets of Africa and all of that. There was panic. And we had to do the necessary.
Propaganda.
We have to
propaganda.
June.
Yeah, you can decide today, on hindsight, you can sit and say propaganda. At the time, nobody even understood. Nobody even understood how the virus was behaving. In February, I recollect I was somewhere in Germany. On my way back, they didn't even check your temperature in Berlin when we were leaving. But by the time we got to Kotoka, we were already looking out for the virus before we went into the shutdown situation. And so, why do you want to link COVID levy to just utilities?
I'm talking about
there were major, so many times, severally in Parliament, severally. Severally, there were questions out of the minister. He brought statements.
That was one of the examples I was going to give. That you were not accountable.
Time and again, we have accounted so many times for
COVID levy.
So many times.
You accounted for e-levy.
So many times. Of course, you see, you should also know that for every levy, before every levy goes into Parliament, you project the revenues you're going to generate and the use to which you are going to. That's what the PFMA requires. And so to every levy that, and similarly, in July last year, when they came with the amendments to the energy sector levies, they came with a projection telling us exactly where the monies are going to be allocated. The question now is...
So you know there's energy sector levy.
And
you are calling it Dumsor levy.
I would say, but a lot of the viewers, I mean, it's easier to relate to it.
It is not easy. It's propaganda.
Because we say Dumsor levy, because we say Dumsor levy because the two main issues were that, one, the revenues were going to be applied to the legacy debts that we have in the sector. And then number two was going to improve upon the infrastructure in the sector, such that we have an efficient system that will ensure that our lights are on at a very affordable rate. Those are the two main things that we put in there. And they are all related to Dumsor. And because of the inefficiency that they have applied that revenue, that we suspect that they have applied those levies to, that is why today we are having these challenges.
Do you know why?
It is not due to replacement of transformers. It is because they have misapplied the money. And that is exactly what we are requesting them to come and account for.
Calling it Dumsor levy from the beginning was one, because they use bringing Mama back will bring Dumsor back before the elections, and it didn't sustain the mantra. Yes. Secondly, they said that we vandalized and demonized the introduction of ye levy. So their idea and strategy was to demonize this levy before it is introduced. So that we will not get the full benefit of it, because they knew that the levy was definitely going to ease the pressure on government in the mobilization of money to take care of the energy sector.
Let's back to Dumsor. Same point that we're fighting against.
Did you
taking it back to Dumsor?
Yesterday?
Yes, I had.
Where?
In my house. In my house.
You. Very well.
Yes.
You are a Muslim.
In Nakwete.
You are a Muslim.
At 12, exactly 12 o'clock.
This morning.
At 12 o'clock, my light went out. At 12 o'clock, my light went out.
That's Dumsor. The light.
You see, when it's Dumsor, there's a way it goes out. Within 15 minutes after the top of the hour. When it goes, you know that this one is my
time.
Very well. That's my that's my But when it goes out in the middle, or let's say at 47, you know, maybe local fault or something. Then I'll worry myself to take a phone and call ECG. That there's a local fault somewhere. But you see, when it goes out around quarter to the top of the hour, to quarter after.
The beautiful thing is that Ghanaians are now very, very familiar with your Jandam. So it's all working.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.